Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 46 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War. And in today's episode, I have just a little bit left to do. I'm taking on several of these units over here with Arthur and friends. It's actually kind of interesting, like I was trying to say in the last episode. Sometimes I get a little bit tongue-twister just because I don't necessarily think of everything or so on and so forth. But I love the way that these maps are designed. They might not be perfect. We're not talking about like maybe S tier map design, right? But the reason why I love the map design of these particular games, or this particular game, is because it does allow for some pretty interesting things on a large scale. And that's where it shines, is that large scale warfare that is just so very interesting and intricate. I think... yeah, this guy has a lance. I want to say it's safe to wait another turn for this. And then go in for the KOs on these guys, because... so I could go in for one KO, but the issue is that if I go in for both, then this Lance Knight is going to attack my unit. I don't really want that at all. So Physic. Nobody needs to be Physicked. Yeah, so what's funny, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the enemies in this particular part of the chapter, some of them decide to go left on this cliff. I don't understand it at all. But what it does is it allows for some very interesting, like, movement, basically. You basically get the chance to not have to worry about so many of the enemies attacking you at one single time. Actually, see, what I want to do here is I want to talk about two more units. Technically, I would like to talk about three, but I'm going to leave the one till later on. And first and foremost is Leaf. Leaf is an astonishing, amazing, incredible unit in Generation 2. Now, of course, he doesn't get a holy weapon to his name, and because of his particular skill set, I don't typically give him a killer weapon, or a weapon, I should say, that has a high kill counter. And the reason why that is because he has critical, he has adept. If you give him a speed ring, if you give him a skill ring, he's likely to eventually get to the point where he's going to be doubling and critting or quadding everything regardless without a brave weapon. Typically, I give him the second brave sword, though. But without a brave weapon, without a weapon that has kill on it, so it doesn't particularly matter. Now, I do believe that Leaf comes at level 1. I want to say that's the case. I might be mistaken here. But he's a level 6 right now with 36 HP, 130% HP growth, pretty darn good. 14 strength and 60% strength growth, 4 magic and 7% magic growth, 13 skill and 50% skill growth, 12 speed and 45% speed growth, 14 luck and 25% luck growth, 13 defense and 50% defense growth, 3 resistance and 10% resistance growth. It's insane to me he has this good of growth, and the reason why I say that is because in retrospect, he has some of the best growths in Gen 2, even better than somebody like Seliph. And the reason why is because he has just he just has much higher strength and speed growth than Seliph. And I find that to be good because he needs it, but then also he kind of doesn't. I don't think I've ever had a Leaf that did not cap out strength, skill, speed, and defense long before he reached level 30. And that's just because Master Knight promo gains are insane. Always have been, always will be. This is one of my favorite units, especially once you get the Rescue Staff. When you get the Rescue Staff and Leaf is promoted, he becomes insane. So he has Minor Balder and Minor Nova Holy Blood. I decided to give him the Pursuit Ring and the Return Band. The Bolt Sword is temporary. I'm going to be giving him the Wind Sword instead. This is going to seem kind of silly for the large portion of this game. And the reason why is because you would almost think that a bow would just be better on him. And granted, man, I think it might be a good idea to just give him a bow. I don't typically do this. Once he promotes, he's going to have A rank in every weapon except for Dark. He'll have nothing there, and C for Light. He will be able to use the Light Tome that you get in this gen, which you could make a good use of on him. I don't think it's necessary, honestly. I actually think the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm considering it, the more I'm thinking that maybe it's for the best to give him I want to say, like a bow after he promotes. Of course, right now, he doesn't mind having something like the Bolt Sword or the Wind Sword because those weapons will give him the upper hand at range when it comes to certain enemies and enemy types, and plus resistance is still lower on some enemies in this gen. I did give him the Steel Blade as well. He does automatically come with the Iron Sword. The Steel Blade is literally only there so that he has the damage without needing an Adept to KO some of these enemies over here and get as much experience points as possible, because he is one of the units that absolutely needs to promote as soon as possible. I wish he had a higher resistance growth. I think that's the only problem I have with Leaf. He doesn't really have anything to supplement his resistance, and he has a pretty poor resistance growth. And the reason why I say this and I bring this up is because later on in the gen, if you don't KO certain units, they will do so much damage to you that you're not dealing with enemy phase. You're just not. And with that in mind, I'm going to try to make sure that I give him the right kind of weapons and items to really bust him. So the fact of the matter is that typically with Leaf, I only give him a Recover Staff, the Rescue Staff, and then maybe like the Restore after he promotes, because he's never going to have enough magic to viably use something like Fortify, even though he would be a mounted Fortify user, or viably use something like Physic. It's just not viable. A lot of people would say, well, you know, little HP is better than nothing. How much HP your units have in the second generation is insane. Recover is what he needs. He needs something that's going to allow him to fully heal a unit without the need of having to worry about particularly whether he has decent magic or not. Like I said, all of his combat-related statistics are going to get to 27s, the caps in his second tier. And when they do, he will be insane, especially if I do decide to give him a skill ring and a speed ring, because that means he'll have 32 skill and 32 speed. Of course, you do have to minus weapon weight, and if I'm going to be using the Brave Sword on him, that'll be -3, so he'll still have 29 speed. He'll still be exceptional. He has a talk with Zelif. This is inconsequential. He has 21,000 funds from gathering up all the villages, and A rank in swords, as well as Adept, may strike foe 2 successive times if user is faster, and critical. User can inflict critical hits, doubling attack power. These are great skills. Great skills. They're just not as good as Pursuit. But once a unit gets into his own, they can be better than Pursuit. This is the thing that people don't understand about this game. Accost, Adept, Critical, all of these skills can become better than Pursuit if your unit is good enough. But Pursuit just makes every unit good at base. So I can definitely see why some people think that he's kind of lackluster at times. With that 17 speed at this current moment and the Pursuit band, he is going to double pretty much everything. Once I send him to the arena in this chapter, I think he's going to clear it. I really think he's going to clear it, and if he doesn't, I'll be a little bit sad. The only thing I could potentially do is when I go to seize Malgen, I could go back into the castle with Zelif, sell his Brave Sword, and then have, at the exact same time, have Leaf and Nana go through the arena with the Brave Sword. I actually think that's what I want to do. So the reason why I'm going to do that, particularly that way, is because it will allow these units to actually contribute something to the grander scheme of the fight. And of course, because Zelif walks so slow and he's going to have to seize Darna as well before I move on to Ulster, I will have plenty of time to move these units back so that they can potentially be used again in the later part of this chapter. I'm not sure that they will. It doesn't really matter. I do pair Leaf and Nana, whom Nana is the next unit to speak of. She's a troubadour, so she is Ethlyn's class. She will promote to a paladin, which has pretty good promotional gains, especially for the female characters, because it gives a pretty good buff to magic, which is something that she definitely appreciates. Nana here is level 5 with 33 HP. She has 105% HP growth. She has 8 strength and 55% strength growth, 5 magic and 40% magic growth, 9 skill and 20% skill growth, 9 speed and 45% speed growth, 10 luck, 50% luck growth, 6 defense, 30% defense growth, 4 resistance, 4 or 15% resistance growth. I almost said 4% resistance growth. That would have been wrong. She has minor Hazul and minor Vala Blood because she is the sister to Dermot. I did give her the Earth Sword, the Miracle Sword. These are good on her. She's not really a mainstay combative unit, and I never get crit with either of these. I actually don't fundamentally think it's possible to get crit with the Earth Sword without some crazy shenanigans, because it costs as much as a holy weapon and only has 10 uses. She comes with an Iron Sword automatically. The Return Band is something I gave to her so that she can return both Finn and herself, and Leif can return himself, all in the same exact turn. That's the only reason why I give it to them, plus they're great users of it later on. She is a fantastic mounted healer, one of the better ones. She has Mend and Return, stuff I gave to her. These are going to be very useful. Her skills to speak of are Pursuit, so she can double attack, and Charm, so she gives a 10% boost to hit and avoid to allies within 3 spaces. She comes with an A rank in swords and a C rank in staves, and 7,500 funds, 8 movement. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ethlyn didn't gain any staff rank upon promotion, which means Nana won't. So very likely it also means that she will be like a return user pretty much permanently throughout this gen. See, Leif is kind of a little bit tricky. When I use Leif, he typically cannot, and I know this is backtracking a little bit, but my plan with him is typically to give him so many things to make him good. So like the Return Band is good. I get rid of the Pursuit Band sooner or later, and then I want to give him so many different staves. Like the Warp Staff, it is perfectly viable on him. The Recover, the Rescue, the Restore, that's already 4 staves. So if I'm going to have that with the Return Band, he has 5 out of the 7 slots in his inventory taken up, which means that if I'm going to keep the Speed Ring on him, he's only getting a single weapon. And typically that weapon would be just like the Brave Sword. I almost want to say that that's what I'm probably going to end up doing, just because his magic isn't that great, let alone the fact that I was thinking about potentially giving him a bow so I can do the shenanigans of like a bow knight hitting and then cantoing back. The only bow I would think to give him is the Killer Bow, because even though the Killer Bow has critical already in it, the issue is that like Lester is never going to use, well, he might use the bow. I don't know. Maybe a silver bow or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I think Leif would probably just be bettered if I had a whole bunch of good items on him, like staves and whatnot, as well as the Brave Sword, so I'm probably going to do that. It does unfortunately mean that with my particular build, he never gets something like the Skill Ring. That was just something I did throw out there because it is a useful item, to be sure. Alright, so with that in mind, I think I can go ahead and just end my turn. And Melgan will be taking his phase now. And hopefully, Arthur finishes off the majority of these units right here. I think he's going to end up getting ganged up on by Ishtar, as well as potentially a Ballista. I don't think he really cares, though, unless he's hit. If he's hit, it could be very dangerous for him. Alright, good dodge. Yeah, Arthur, especially in the early game, has pretty much no survivability. The only thing you can do is rely on his great avoid due to his... Oh my gosh, that was an incredible level up. Thank you, Arthur. but his great avoid due to his wonderful Forsetti. The renewal band really does help him at this current time in the previous chapter, just because I can let him be by himself and not have to worry about healing him up. And the Forsetti typically makes it so that he never gets hit. Alright, Seliph. All the rest of these units can now just move out and start striking the enemies. So this will be a very clean KO, which I appreciate. I do believe the Brave Bow is close to crit. Oh, it is actually exactly there. That's so cool. So the Light Brand is already there, which is nice. The Brave Axe is close. Not quite there yet. Okay, I cannot reach the boss here, which is very unfortunate, but what I can do... Okay, so these two can... This one can reach Lester, this one can reach... Not exactly good. Just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna go ahead and Light Brand you. And Dermot is getting to the point where he is going to start criticaling everything, proccing crits, let alone the fact that he actually has gotten a reasonable amount of magic in his level ups, 5 to be exact. So half of his levels have yielded him a magic so far. That's pretty outstanding. I'm actually very excited about that particularly, because what it means is that Dermot is getting ever closer to just being absolutely busted with this weapon. Again, I just don't understand. I really do not understand, and probably will never understand, how that people just find the magic sword builds to be insufferable, I guess is the word that you could use. I just don't understand it. Physic. Alright, so I think I can just go ahead and... I'm going to be putting Arthur right here. I will KO one of you with Larce. And then the other one with Johan. I hope I can reach... So I'm not entirely sure, but I think I will be able to reach the Armor Knight. Well, actually, I can reach him right now, if I'm not mistaken, because I have the magic sword, yeah. So that doesn't even matter. And this is another beautiful, clean KO. Alright. Recover. Lana needs all the healing she can get for experience points, because again, these units cannot go through the arena till promoted, so a lot of people think that that's like absolutely unnecessary or it doesn't really matter grand scheme of things, but the reason why it matters to me is because of the gold. It doesn't matter at all whether or not a unit like her is good in the arena for combat or has good combat on the field. Healing in this game and magic and staves are just so darn useful that in all reality, it doesn't matter if you're necessarily good or not. So I think maybe in a turn or two, I'm going to go ahead and warp Leaf and friends back to the main castle. And that will leave Leonster unprotected, but that doesn't matter.
You vermin, how dare you slaughter Lisa like that? You'll have no mercy.
And he's attacking Patty. Is this a KO? Well, it might have been. Ooh. 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 Did he proc a cost? Or was that adept? I have to see this. Oh, he has Adept. How did he proc Adept? Bolting weighs 30. So he's minus 12. How did he proc Adept? Oh, yes. So the way Adept works is that since he's going to be minus 12, Adept is attack speed plus 20. So he had an 8% chance to proc Adept, and he proc'd it. Is that a joke? I really want to say that that's a joke. Right here, I can attack with the Forseti. I don't KO unless I double with Adept. Ooh. He dodged, and then he procced Adept. Oh man, this is some shakeups here. All right, I have literally basically no chance to hit here. So reality is bolting 15 plus his magic. He has what, a 34 attack? Patty would have died, and she luckily dodged both hits. So I'm going to go ahead and move her out of the way. I need to check to see if anybody else is capable of dying here. I don't think so. So as long as I KO these units, I think everything should be fine. Oh, come on. I think I'm going to reset on that. All right, so a little bit of a tidbit for RNG manipulation here. I'm going to, as long as my unit who attacks one of these units is doubling, that unit's going to miss his second attack. Because my first attack was with Arthur, and he has a % chance to miss here. So, all you have to do to change this RNG is when you reset the turn, attack with somebody who has no chance to miss. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. The only problem is, though, is Dermot is not going to be in the range of Arthur, so this might give him a much less % chance to go ahead and hit the boss. Not great, mind you, but it's basically what I have to do here. Especially given the fact that I just want all of these units to be defeated. Perfect. Very nice. And I can go ahead and heal you up, Lester. Perfect. That is very appreciated. And then Johan can fight you. He has only an 82% chance to hit, and his miss before was kind of a bit detrimental because I need him to hit. Yeah, I'm not going to put him right exactly there. Alright, so Forseti, 83% chance to hit, and he just crits. Very nice.
Lisa,
And he's defeated. Thoron is obtained. So the reason why I get Thoron with this unit right now, he can actually use it after promotion. That's not at all the reason why I have it here. It's just so I can sell it and continuously repair Forseti, because that's another reason why I have the renewal band, is just for repairs, basically. And of course, heal up Dermot. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm kind of mogging the enemies here to a pretty extreme degree. I don't know if I'm going to need Patty and Shannon here up to the north. I don't really think so. The rest of my units will be going back up north to deal with Darna. Fee's only coming back down to sit with Arthur for as long as she possibly can. Leaf, Nana, and Finn, I think, can just wait like another turn. In fact, they can wait until Selith goes into the castle and sells. So that's going to be a little while, because after he goes in the castle and sells, even if they don't get warped until that very turn, Selith isn't repurchasing that stuff until after they've used it on the following turn. So there is that. Oifi can just wait right here. I think that's perfectly fine. All right, time to save my progress. So this is going to be a little bit of a bit of doing nothing, basically. I'm going to be gathering up my forces to go deal with the enemies that are coming out of Darna. Whereas, well, actually, I think Arthur would be better used going this way, which actually means I should just wait with him by the castle so that he can get more of his Versetti repaired. I actually think this is a way better thing to do. The rest of my units can go up north and deal with the opposing foes. I think that's fine. Only person I can physic there, and it's not really all that valuable. All right. Shannon and Patty can continue waiting. Ulster, Oifi. All right, so very next turn, I'll be sending Leaf and friends back, I believe. Okay, time to seize.
At last, Selith, you've reached Melgen. Leonster's just a stone throws from here.
Say, Lewin, will this war ever end?
I still doubt that Prince Ishtor or his general were truly wicked people. Must we kill still more like them?
That may be so, but don't forget they still actively serve the will of a brutal tyrant.
As far as our cause is concerned, there is no doubt they were the enemy. This is a war, Selith. There's more to it than only ever fighting the thoroughly evil or those whom we hate.
I suppose so.
It's okay, Selith. You're a good man, through and through. You could just stand to worry a bit less. Now then, we've got our goal to focus on, coming to the rescue over in Leonster.
Indeed. Let's move in on Leonster. Everything shall begin there. Melgen seized. This will give my units a little bit of time to prepare, I suppose you could say, for the oncoming fight. And how my units are going to prepare is literally just moving in position. You do have to be kind of careful here, though. You don't want to be too close, because the thing is that the overwhelming majority of your units, okay, return you, cannot deal with the Darna forces with multiple of them hitting you at once. It's just not happening. And all three will return. And the rest of my units will move up. But I should have more than enough firepower to deal with pretty much everything I'm going to be dealing with over here. Finn can go ahead and go through the arena. That would be nice. In this case, I think he's pretty much guaranteed to go through it. He does have the Horse Slayer. I don't know that I'm going to be keeping anything like that on him. I'm definitely not keeping the Iron Lance on him. He no longer needs to use light weaponry to feed KOs to enemies. I am, however, going to give him the Slim Lance. That might seem like a little bit of an odd choice, but as I have demonstrated before, the Slim Lance is actually an exceptionally good weapon if you're savvy with like weapon weights in this game. So the thing is that almost all lances weigh 12. The Slim Lance weighs half. Javelin, of course, is kind of a bit of an exception like this, but they tried balancing. They really did try to balance the 1-2 ranged weapons in this game to make it so that bow users would be better. I really do think that if javelins and hand axes were good, then bow units would be much worse in my humble opinion. Especially because, like, what are they benefiting you? They have no one range. Now, this could be fixed. Most people don't think that archers should be fixed by being given a 1-2 range weapon. I actually don't particularly agree with this. I think that it is more than fine for archers to have like a single 1-2 range weapon in the game. And maybe it's a very late game kind of like thing that you get. It's sort of like how the double bow occurred in Radiant Dawn. I actually really like that. It's something you don't get basically till the end game. A lot of people basically train a unit around whether or not he can use the double bow. And that's really a novel thing because it means that you want to use an archer, because once you get the double bow, you have legitimately a 25 might bow in a game where the majority of the might for weapons is like in the lower teens. And let alone you have a 25 might bow, archers in that game just have insane stats. Marksmen, I should say. And with that in mind, you just really like take a look at it and you say, this is how you can balance it. Three Houses, though I'm not too keen on the newer games, Three Houses did some interesting stuff with bows, like for instance, creating the mini bow, which is basically the short bow of every ROM hack that exists out there. It is a 1-2 range bow. It just doesn't have flyer effectiveness. See, that's okay. Take away the flyer effectiveness. I'm perfectly fine with that. Make it a very weak weapon. Make it have poor hit or accuracy. Make it be like the hand axe of this game. Have high weight, poor hit, low might, whatever. It would just give that utility. And that's what archers need, is some kind of utility to make them so that they're not just useless at one range. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and, of course, smith all of these weapons. I don't think I'm going to smith the Horslayer. I really just don't see myself using this weapon. I'll keep it on Finn for now, because what's the point of taking it off of him? But, again, I just don't... I really don't see the point of this weapon in the grand scheme of things.
What? Milligan's fallen already? Blast! We were too slow, and now the episode is over. So I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform. Leave a comment down below, and while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.